People ask me all the time, Joe, how did you get your job working in barbecue restaurants? Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back for another video. This is my second kind of like vlog-ish video that I've been trying to make again. If you guys didn't watch my last one of me talking about New Year's resolutions and what I like and don't like about them, I'll leave a link for you guys to check out in the top corner. But to get into the topic of this video, this is a question that I get asked a lot. Back in 2017 is when I was really kind of looking for jobs in barbecue restaurants. I just wanted to kind of share with you guys how I got my job and a lot of other stuff that I did beforehand that allowed me to get it. The person that you guys see now, just like many of you, you guys have gone through a lot of different things and you've grown over time, and it's the same for me as well. When I was a little kid, and honestly even kind of felt like that through high school and a little bit during college, just because that was kind of how I have been doing things for so long. I was kind of the type of person that if I was going to ask for something or ask for help, and if the answer wasn't going to be a yes for sure in my mind, then I was very hesitant to ask. And it didn't really change for me until I basically graduated college. The thought that I had, this was I guess just me just being a little more negative back then, but I remember thinking, waking up the next day after my graduation, I was like, last night I was a college graduate, and then this morning I am unemployed. So I think a lot of people who've been following me for a while know that I used to be a high school teacher, but my degree was actually in middle school and elementary math. When I went out and I was looking for jobs, and I realized that I didn't really want to work with middle school kids, I wanted to work with high school. Before I graduated, I went to a high school job fair. I think it was around like December, end of December, early January. And I was going to these job fairs with all these schools that are around my area, and I just purposely closed the folder that had the resume in there, and I basically told them like what I was interested in, why I wanted to work in high school, blah 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 blah. Gave them my whole spiel, and I could see on their faces they were pretty like, oh okay, like this guy is a young kid who is wants to do this job. But as soon as they opened up my folder and saw my resume, they're like, so what are you doing here? And that happened at almost every single booth that I went to. And I remember leaving there feeling really, really discouraged and kind of being like, man, like I don't want to go back to school again. I want to work now and get paid for actually teaching that I've been doing for the last however many years for free. And after I graduated, I spent like 2.5 months really looking for jobs almost everywhere, and also just working at these summer schools in hopes that they would hire me for a position that didn't really exist, but I was too young and naive to know that. And I just kind of gave them my time. And one of my friends told me that at the school that he was working at, that hey, this assistant math teaching job is open, why don't you apply for it? So later that day I jumped on my computer and I was trying to fill in my application as fast as I possibly could. And while I was in the middle of filling in that application, I get a call from the math director of the school saying that they want me to come in for an interview, and they knew how to get in touch with me because I went to that high school job fair 5 months ago that I felt really discouraged going to. And then eventually, after the entire interview process, I was able to get my job. And as soon as I got my job and I knew that, all right, I am gonna be at this school, this is where I'm gonna be hopefully for a long time. And so the next thing I knew I wanted to do was I wanted to coach football. And even before I told my parents or my sister that, hey, I got a new job, I'm gonna be working at the beginning next school year, I sat in my car, I found the email address for the head football coach at my school, and then I just sent him an email on my phone saying, hey, my name is Joe Yim, I just got hired, I'm interested in coaching football, but all I've really done up to this point is barely play high school football and coach a flag football team for the last couple of years. if you guys have anything for me, I would love to volunteer, and so on and so on. And 10-15 minutes later, I also got a chance to volunteer for that as well. And so during that time, I had all these many years, like 22 years of being so scared to ask for anything because I was scared of hearing no. But at that time, it just seemed like I could do no wrong almost. And then fast forward another year, I've been teaching and coaching for a year, and you know, I had the idea of starting an Oxab barbecue in my backyard, and my parents were like, what do you want to do? Why? And then I bought that smoker that you guys see me cook on in the backyard, and then we did that for 2 years. And then after that, after going to Texas, I think 3 times by that point, you know, I decided that I was gonna quit my job and move to Texas, and I'm gonna work at a barbecue restaurant. But I will say sending those emails was definitely scarier than the last 2 for sure, because I didn't have anything to lean on if they said no. And I had sent a round of emails to different barbecue restaurants, and I got a bunch of no's. And I was freaking out because I'm like, I don't know what to do because everyone said no, and I already quit my job, and I have a month to find a new job because I'm planning on moving to Texas in January, and this was you know, right after Thanksgiving. And that email that I sent, I must have sounded so stupid just because I'm just telling them, hey, I'm a high school teacher from Chicago. I cook barbecue in my backyard. Here are some pictures so you know what I'm doing. And I'm quitting my job, and I'm gonna be here anyway. So if you guys have something for me, I would love to talk. And that was the first time that I actually went there to actually meet people. And again, this was, I think, the first week of December. And so early December, my cousin and I, we actually flew out to Austin to visit a couple places. That's when I met Terry Blacks for the first time. That's when I, you know, met Evan at Leroy and Lewis for the first time. Luckily, I was able to find a job at Terry Blacks, and I've also stayed really close with Leroy and Lewis during this entire time, and it's been super, super cool and humbling. So why do I share, you know, me getting my teaching job and my coaching job on top of this barbecue thing? It's because the point that I want to get across is that honestly, none of the 3 jobs that I've had, I was actually qualified for. I mean, for teaching as an assistant, yeah, I had all the credentials of, yeah, I had my credit hours of being a college student, but I didn't feel like at that time I was, you know, ready to work with high school kids after I've been working with, you know, 4th through 8th graders for the last, I don't know, forever. For coaching, I probably know more than the average person who's watching from home, but to really know scheme and to be in charge of a group of athletes was not something that I was qualified for. Most of the coaches that I've worked with had either played all 4 years of high school football, if not played in college, and have been coaching way longer than I have. Barbecue. Yeah, I've been cooking since I was like 13, but I didn't know what I was doing. Even by the time I had my pop-ups going and I made a couple trips to Texas, I still didn't know. But the biggest thing is for any of these things is that you just have to ask. It's so simple to say that, like, yeah, you just ask and you just kind of roll with the punches basically, but really that's what it is. And I just feel like I can empathize with people who are scared to do it because that was most of my life. So this is more so for anybody. I mean, obviously this is geared towards, you know, people who are looking to work in barbecue because that's kind of a topic of this conversation, but this really goes for anything that you might be going through. For those of you who, for whatever reason, young kids or high school kids or college kids who might be looking for something different right now and you're nervous that you're too young or too unqualified to do something. But in all honesty, it is really about just asking and not feeling like when you finally get your opportunity that you made it. One of my biggest things that I've always wanted to do, I wanted to make sure that people who brought me in felt like they made the best decision that they could by bringing me in, because I was going to bring more than they asked for. Being an assistant teacher in that role at that time, I don't really know what was asked of us or what was expected of us, but I feel like myself and the group that I came in with, like, man, we were definitely putting in work and doing probably more than what our contract asked of us, but we enjoyed it. With coaching football, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to just be some random kid that was just standing next to coaches and was going to be just holding clipboards and filling up water bottles. I wanted to be able to do what they asked me to do, because yes, I am a volunteer. I'm here to do whatever you ask me to do, but also be there to learn, to ask questions, and to figure out how do I contribute to this team other than just being extra hands and feet that can do something that other coaches can't because they're too busy. And then with barbecue, it was one of those things where I was like, I don't know how many other people get this opportunity, but I'm treating it as one of one. And I'm gonna make sure if I'm the only person that's getting this opportunity to do this, I'm gonna make sure that no one else can replace me. I'm gonna make sure that I know my stuff. I'm gonna ask my questions. I'm going to make sure that I can do everything that is asked of me to the best of my ability, and be good enough at some point that my bosses will ask me for suggestions. And that's kind of what happened as time went on. But I do feel like the biggest mistake that most people try to do when they come into a new place is they think that they know more than the people who are there. I've seen people come into barbecue restaurants saying, I've cooked barbecue on my own for X amount of years, or I ran pop-ups, I've done this, I've done that, and they come in and they try to change. They try to change what the restaurant's doing. I'm like, dude, that's not your job. I know this video is way too long for me just to say, just ask. And when you do ask, and when you do get the opportunity, how you don't waste it, because a wasted opportunity because of ego or because of laziness is one of the most disappointing things, and I've seen that a lot, and I just don't want that to happen to anyone who's watching this video. But if you guys feel like you're really willing to put in the work and to make sacrifices and to really be a student of whatever field you're trying to go into, all you can do is ask and see what happens. But that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this helped. I hope that if you're someone who's going through this right now, that this video just kind of gives you some encouragement to take that first step, and also not to be too discouraged if it doesn't work out. Sometimes things don't work, and it's okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next one.